Hi, it's Brandy, and today we're going to be talking about Google Sheets. So Google Sheets is very similar to Excel. It's a spreadsheet app that allows you to collect data, sort, and analyze data. We're going to look at it two kind of different ways. The first way is I'm already logged into my Google Drive account. And remember, when we're working with our Google Apps for Education, we need to be logged in with our at rolandschools.org account. I'm just going to click over here on New. The green icon is Google Sheets, so I'm going to click on it. And it just gives me a basic untitled spreadsheet. So the first thing we always want to do is name our spreadsheet or name our file. So demo sheet. And just like an Excel spreadsheet, you have your headings, your columns, your rows. You can start to insert data. You can change your fonts here. You can format the data in these different ways. You have your basic processing tools, bold, italics. You can strike through, change the color. You can fill cells, things like that. You also have the ability to insert a chart. You can filter the data, and you can also perform your basic functions like sum, average, count, max, and min, and then there's some more function options. So this is just a basic plain sheet. You can always add down here, you can add a sheet just like you would in Excel. I'm actually going to go up here to a couple of sheets that I collected data from a Google form. So this first one, if you watched the Google form intro video, this was the form that I made, demo form, with those three or four questions when we were introducing forms. So I just submitted a couple forms with the data. So the first question was who was the first president, and here were the responses. So I did not type this data into this sheet. This sheet was automatically generated from the Google form that I created. The second question was about the speaking. It was on the scale from 1 to 5, and here are the responses. And then the last question was a grid where students had to mark a statement as true or false. So the first one was 5 times 5 equals 25, and they had to select true or false. The second one was 4 times 8 equals 40. And the last one was 6 times 1 equals 7. And they just chose true or false. So the great thing when you use a Google form and it automatically inputs your data into a Google Sheet is if you click up here by form, you can click Show Summary of Responses. And Google does all that thinking for you. So that first question, here's a summary of the responses. My question was, who was the first president? And these are all of the responses that were submitted. My second question was about the speaking. And here is the scale that I used, and it shows you how many people chose that scale number, the percentage of respondents that chose that, and it even gives you a graph. And then the same thing with my last question, 5 times 5, and 3 participants said it was true, 1 participant said it was false. It gives you the percentages there and another graph. So this is great if you really get your kids to start submitting forms. You can easily analyze the data. It kind of does it for you. So that's always nice. So I'm just going to exit out of this. Again, this was the sheet that was generated based on the Google form. I'm going to exit out of that one. And here's a Google form that my third graders actually created by themselves last year. It was just asking people what their favorite subject was and then what state they lived in. And we collected this data from all of the students in our class. I sent the link to the staff at my school, so all of the teachers filled it out. And then I also posted the link on Twitter, so we had some friends far away. So here is a friend in Florida filled it out. And so same thing, because this data came from a form, I can click on Form, Show Summary of Responses, and here's a nice graph that Google Sheets has already made for me. It tells me there were 61 responses. 21 people, which is 34.4%, chose math. And there's my, there is my graph. For science, I had 19 people, or 31%, choose science. And it does all this for you. And here are the responses where they had to type in their state, and then it gives you the daily number of responses. So, excuse me. This is a great tool to use to analyze data. If your students are using forms to collect any data, if they just click on summary of responses, it'll analyze it for them. So that's basically how to use Sheets. It's a great spreadsheet tool if you're collecting any kind of data. It works very well with forms for you to be able to analyze data.